Hello, my name is Connie Liu. I'm an undergraduate at MIT, and today we're going to be talking about the first cells that arose on Earth. So the first cells actually had a very specific name. They were known as protobionts. And these were the first species or things that could be categorized as cells because they could, one, replicate, which is really important in order to pass on information and then form additional generations of yourself. And then second off, it could metabolize. So these are two essential traits of being a living thing. These protobionts actually arose spontaneously from organic compounds. What happened was that they were able to form a membrane. If you've ever had soup before, you've probably seen soup and little oil dots within your soup forming. And this kind of gives you a little insight on what lipids do. Lipids spontaneously form membrane-bound droplets. And then this is probably how these membranes formed to encase the genetic information inside protobionts, and then allowed for these excluded, safer little vessels or vesicles for life to develop in these membrane bound droplets in order to protect it from the outside world. So these little lipid membranes became the origins of cell membranes. Then the other thing that these cells need is genetic information. They have to be able to form new generations, but also pass on the information for how they even form new generations of themselves. So the first genetic information actually took the form of RNA. DNA didn't arise until later, but for now, RNA was the best way to go because they could have ribozymes. And ribozymes are essentially genetic information and enzymes all encapsulated or like all together in one. So it's kind of like an all-in-one, really awesome genetic information enzyme package that these cells can have. So these ribozymes can both self-replicate and have catalytic abilities, so they can serve as a catalyst for themselves. This is really important because then the RNA can replicate itself without the help of all of these enzymes that we need nowadays, such as DNA can't replicate unless it has polymerase and helicase and all of these supplementary enzymes in today's or in our bodies. Whereas in these earlier cells, these RNA can just replicate themselves and then create more. And in this way, they're not restricted by needing all of these additional parts. They can be very self-sufficient and then within their little membrane-bound vesicles and just have that genetic information both do the job of replicating and catalyzing its own replication. So this is why these species could beat out other molecules evolutionarily because they could replicate themselves and they could do it fairly quickly. Other pseudo cells could not compete in that case, and then that's why protobionts became the most popular form of life during that period of time. But as we said before, that period of time was a long, long time ago. It was about 3.5 billion years ago, so that was quite a while. But this was definitely the first sign of life we were seeing as the Earth started to form.